Hello YouTube. So I made this video last week talking about how I'm kind of like done caring about the internet sphere and I just want to do things that make me happy. I realized when I posted that video, I didn't understand this at the time. I think I accidentally clicked a button that turned off the comments. Like I got like DMs from people afterwards, like commenting basically and just telling me what they were commenting, and I didn't even realize. So I had to like Google how to turn on the comments. I don't even know how I did that. So, you know, sorry, I guess. But I also kind of mentioned that I wanted this to feel a little bit like a digital diary. So hopefully this is gonna be a good life update. I'm hoping it'll just be some sort of time capsule almost. I don't know. I love the idea of time capsules for some reason. I definitely romanticize them. I saw old videos of Tate McRae's old YouTube videos where she was kind of like journaling a little bit. I mean, she was like singing and playing music, but she was like kind of journaling, and I thought that was really cool. I think the idea of being able to just like look back and kind of see where you were is really just, I don't know. I'm kind of enthralled with that idea for some reason. I have a song coming out Friday, so it'll be out, I think by the time this video is out. It'll be out in like 2 days. It'll be out tomorrow, actually, tonight at midnight. Now that I think about it, yeah, it'll definitely be out then. It's called Angel Eyes. It's a cool song. I really like it. It was kind of inspired by like Deftones meets some old bands we used to tour with, like the Home Team, Point North. It's kind of like pretty but heavy, and that's like kind of one of my favorite ethos about writing music. I like really pretty but also very heavy music. I had a really good time filming these reels. I really like filming stuff, like pretty stuff, and I'm happy to kind of just release it the way I want to. I learned about these things called trial reels lately on like Instagram, where you can basically just post and it'll only show it to people who are not already following you. So it's kind of like posting into the void. I think that's kind of a cool romantic idea, especially because there are certain things that I would like to try that I don't really know if anybody that follows me would really care about, so it could be a good excuse. I've started doing that. Like I've started taking older music videos of mine and just chopping them up and just, I don't know, putting them out there. Maybe there's a group of people out there that I have no idea about that would actually kind of think that what I'm doing is cool. But I generally enjoyed just kind of putting stuff out that isn't like, is this the song of the summer? I don't know. I had fun, I guess, just kind of being like, I don't know, I want to film this video, and it seems cool. I think I just kind of like posting without overthinking. Like 10 minutes before I was posting something about like, hey, I have this song coming out, I was just like, I don't know, it'd be really funny if I said this thing right before it. And it probably wasn't. Actually, it really was not, to be honest. But I don't know why, I just kind of closed my eyes and did it, and I was like, whatever, it's out. Who cares? It's the internet is all fake, you know what I mean? Who cares? I got on a call with a guy who's an agent, and we know him through Concrete Castles. I'm not going to say what band he's in. I don't want to reveal his identity or anything, but he works for the agency that Concrete Castles and First 11 are on, and I just asked him if he could like look into booking me some shows like for my own stuff, just like if there's any like local opener, like 30-minute stuff, you know, going on in like Buffalo, Cleveland, Pittsburgh, and he said he would take a look for me. Whether or not he does, I honestly have no idea. Agents are so busy. They're like I don't know. I don't even know what the word is. Some sort of like surgeon, like they're like the anesthesiologists of the music world. They're just like constantly like thinking about stuff, and I have a feeling that my message will get lost in the shuffle. But I sent him my set, and he wants to know like what my music sounds like. So he seemed optimistic. I'm hoping that that'll pan out. But in the meantime, I am definitely gonna try to start booking some shows, even if they're just like coffee shop shows for myself, to really kind of start whittling away at my fear of performing in public like that as a singer. That'd probably be a good thing for me to get over. I feel like I'd be a little bit more unstoppable of a person if I could do that somehow. Besides just actually wanting to play shows, I think I also kind of want to not feel like I'm quote unquote stringing along some of the other guys that I've been playing with, and I don't think I am. I told them very upfront, like, if you want to play some music with me, that'd be great, but there's no expectation of this to go anywhere. This is purely just for fun. If you want to meet like once every 2 weeks and run these songs and go home. And to my surprise, they were like, yeah, that would be awesome. Like, and I was like, are you guys upset that I haven't been able to find us anything yet? And they're like, no, not at all. So that's a really good feeling, and I feel like that is that is the rock upon which we build, and that's pretty cool. I tried to apply for the show in Erie called Noob Night, which is just like a, I mean, it's what it sounds like. It's like for bands that are, you know, kind of getting their feet wet. And one of my other friends, his band also applied for it, and we both never heard back from them, but they've been like, they did it, you know what I mean? They hosted it. So it's kind of a bummer, but I don't know. That's life. I actually am even considering just like doing some sort of like basement show with like another band or two. I don't know if that would even really work in Erie, but I don't know. It could just be kind of fun, and I think that's kind of the high of life that I'm on right now. Is just trying to do fun things. If anybody wants me to come play 30 minutes to open for their band, just, you know, let me know. I kind of put this idea in my head recently that I want to try to have a new song to release every 2 weeks, because 2 weeks is like the amount of upload time that you need if you want things to get out on time. To be honest, I don't think that that's very realistic. That sounds pretty hard. Like right now, I still have to record vocals for a song that theoretically at the time of filming this, I would have to have recorded, mixed, mastered, and find album art and be uploaded within the next 24 hours. And that sounds impossible, so I don't really think that that's realistic, but I think that it'd be a really fun goal. Like I feel like it would just like push me a little bit as a songwriter to not sit on things and like kind of build it into my schedule a little more, and just push myself. So I don't know, and I kind of like the idea of like having a stream of songs that are just kind of always being released. I feel like that would just be like a fun challenge for me. I don't know, you know, some people are like, I want to read this many books this year. I feel like that's kind of how I am with like releasing music. Another thing that I've been thinking about in the vein of like playing more shows is that it's been 5 years since I really started touring, almost exactly. I think April is gonna be around the 5-year mark, and it's kind of weird to see how things have shaken down. Some bands we've toured with have really blown up, some have kind of stayed the same, and some don't exist anymore, and that's obviously the only 3 options. I understand, but it kind of changes my perspective, or I mean, at least it has really bolstered my perspective that you just never really know what's going to happen in this industry. Like I regularly I was talking to somebody yesterday who was a longtime friend of mine who I've toured with, and he was just telling me how, again, I won't reveal any names or anything, but a member of his band has very abruptly and suddenly decided to leave and kind of try to cancel their project. And you know, I being able to kind of understand that situation he's in, I just feel for him. And he was just like, it's very hard to have spent so much time and effort building something, and then you just blink and something completely out of your control happens. And he was like, we had this momentum going and whatever. And I was like, yeah, that is the nature of the beast, sadly. There needs to be like an emotional support group for people in music in that vein, although I think it'd be way too many people that have experienced things like that. I mean, like, they're like, think about every show you go to, and there's stickers on the wall in the green room for thousands of bands, and most of them are not together anymore. Most of them, you know, got the shakedown, and they're out of it. And even of the ones who've made it, it's been very hard for me to really get a grasp on if they're doing okay emotionally or financially. Obviously is a big one. You know, social media paints a lot of lies, and it's a little hard to always cut through the noise. Like I see a lot of these people who I know, you know, very personally, living seemingly very great lives, and that makes me very happy. And then I'll meet up with them, whatever, text them every so often, and it's never usually the reality. I mean, a lot of them end up saying, I'm actually pretty devastated by these things that have happened. I'm losing money with this. So that thing that you saw me post, that's not real. Or this studio that you saw, like, that's not actually mine. And I don't know, it's very discouraging, but also somewhat comforting to see that a lot of people in music are probably not living the life that they're painting on social media. But it's a lot of people are just like, I'm playing the lottery every day, like I'm hoping that it'll get better, and that's kind of a very freeing feeling in some weird way. Another one of my friends, again, won't reveal his name or band, but he recently decided to leave. So other perspective, and I was just kind of asking about it, and he was like, yeah, it's really hard. He was like, being gone for 10 months out of the year is extremely difficult. And my perspective, just kind of loosely keeping up with some of the guys, is that things are going well, playing the biggest shows yet, and doing stadium tours and getting Billboard certified. And those are all amazing things. They're very much things to be proud of. It sounds like, though, there are elements of it that still are not worth it. And I feel like that's kind of a very weird psychological guilt trip that happens when you find a little bit of success in music, or I guess there are plenty of other industries where this applies, but sometimes I feel like it's easy to feel guilty for, having all these successes that you have that you probably would have killed for in another life, or even in this life, just at a younger age. And then kind of taking a step back and realizing, like, maybe these aren't exactly the things that are going to bring me happiness. But the positive, I guess, spin on that is that it's kind of just bolstering a very old, true wisdom, for lack of better words, that money can't buy you happiness, so to speak, but not even just money, but very materialistic or artificial things, or maybe things that can't bring you happiness also include everybody else in the world telling you that they like your things. It's kind of important to be doing things for the reason that I'm even making this video, because it just makes you happy. I still kind of miss when the internet was not monetizable. I know that that's insane to say, and no, I would not ever want to give up the job that I have now, monetizing covers on the internet. So I guess I don't miss it that badly if you really think about it. But I do kind of miss when people were just purely posting for the fun of it. I mean, there's lots of other topics I could divulge into, in like the evils of monetizing, or the evils of monetizing kids or whatever. But I also realize that a lot of times when I project about these things, it's projecting. And I know that it is, because a lot of times these feelings come up when I'm feeling dissatisfied with like how things are going in my life, but also I think I'm very good about keeping that in check. Like, I'm by no means somebody that ever lashes out or like really makes comments about things. Like, I'm usually pretty good at clocking it and just being like, oh yeah, I feel this way because I'm bummed about this thing. But honestly, even when I'm doing pretty okay with life, I think I still remain true to that virtue that generally the internet was a lot better when people were doing it. Like, think about Vine. Like, when people were just doing stuff knowing that they weren't going to get paid, but they just loved creating, and maybe it led to other opportunities. A lot of people ended up springboarding their careers into other platforms. But man, what a blissful glimpse into the internet at that time. I started writing the song like 2 days ago. I was writing with a student of mine, him and his dad, and they're not like the best instrumentalists. You know what I mean? Like, obviously they're taking lessons from me, they're learning. But everything that they write is just so cool, because they like don't really care about any of that. So like, we'll write something and I'm like, this is one of the coolest things ever. I probably never could have thought of it. And I've like gone through the process of finishing songs with them, and I'm like, is this cool? What do you guys think? And they're kind of like, I don't know, it's cool, I guess. And I'm like, okay, can I borrow this song? I mean, a lot of times it's ideas that I'm helping them come up with, but sometimes I'm like, can I borrow that like riff for this thing? And they're like, yeah, we don't care. So I'm very excited. I also started reamping guitars, which, for anybody who doesn't know, instead of just using like a digital guitar amp like in my computer, using like a real guitar amp, you know what I mean? So I'll run something out of my computer into a guitar amp, and it's a real live amp, which just always sounds way better, and it always makes me feel so inspired. I even did like some real drum takes. I didn't set up my real kit, but I recorded with an e-kit, and I captured like the dynamics of like how I actually play, and I left in some little mistakes and everything, and I don't know, it just sounds cool. I'm very excited, and I'm gonna really try to grind on it to hopefully get it out on my every 2-week schedule. It's optimistic, but I don't know. I'm really excited about it. I also want to get back to live streaming my doing covers for First 11. I think it puts a lot of the joy back into it to have other people there. I need to change my setup though. I need to get like another monitor or something like that. But yeah, I don't know. I think that'd be fun. I really like connecting with people like that, and it just makes me feel like I'm not spewing into the internet void. Like, a lot of times I post these covers. This is a very weird thing to explain, but like, it's weird that like I sit in like this room right now, and I 2 to sometimes 3 times a week will like create something that like usually on average like hundreds of thousands of people will listen to, and I never really notice. I don't know. So it's kind of nice to even have like the handful of people that stop by on the live streams where they watch me make covers and be like, oh yeah, I forget that they're out there. You know what I mean? Speaking of which, we're trying to roll out this idea that's like kind of in beta testing right now, where First 11 wants to do commissioned covers for people, like private commissioned covers. So like, if you have a song that you want us to do, we'll do it for you, like for a price or whatever, and potentially film a video for it too. I made a post about it into like some Facebook groups, and no real interest quite yet, or I think just maybe not enough people saw it. So gonna try and keep working on that. But I'd love to replace teaching for a few hours a day with doing that for people. It feels much more aligned with what I actually think will make people happy, and I feel like I'm also just way better at it. I mean, I think I'm a pretty good teacher, but like, I think I'm way better at doing that and helping somebody else's vision kind of happen, and making somebody hopefully very happy. So I think that I would like to somehow transition my life to just doing that instead of teaching at some point. Definitely nothing makes me happier than being busy, and in a weird way I'd almost say it's easier to phrase it like nothing makes me more upset than being not busy. Like I get very stir crazy, and I feel like I start going a little crazy when I don't have things to do. But I am still pretty steadfast for the last couple weeks of taking, one day out of the week to just spend with somebody or doing something that is kind of a waste of time in a way. Like I'm doing nothing during the day, but it's important to spend that day with somebody or people or friends or family or whatever to just reset my brain chemistry a little bit. It's been working, and again, every time it's like working out. Like every time I start it, I'm like, I don't know, like this just feels weird, and then I am in it, and I'm like, I love this. Like this is so much fun. I don't know. I think also like not only just trying to input more good relationship time, but again, friends, family, whatever, but also trying to just take away from the time with very hurtful people. You know what I mean? That is equally as important. So doing pretty good with that for the most part. I had something the other day happen to me that I'd like to share. I got a call from a good friend of mine, like one of my best friends. And like, I don't know, he definitely likes to call, but I think to call generally is a very, like, I pick up when people call, you know what I mean? Like if it's text, sometimes I'll put it aside for a little bit. But so I was like, oh man, maybe this is important. And he called me and he was like, dude, I'm in like a meeting right now. Like I just had to step outside and tell you that I've been listening to your song like nonstop. And I'm like, wow, that is extremely nice. I like got friend butterflies. Like I was like, man, that's amazing. Like nobody does that. That was so nice. Like I just never hear that. And I kind of was like, this is one of my best friends I've known since we were like in diapers, and I was just like kind of taken back. Like I was like, wow, that is so nice. And I think I just made the choice to just let that matter. Like I kind of for so long would just be like, he's my friend, he kind of has to say that. But I started to just accept like, no, maybe he just really meant that. You know what I mean? I had another friend who last weekend I helped stage his engagement. I might have mentioned that. And he, like, the day after his engagement, I was like, dude, how do you feel? And he was like, good. Anyway, I've been thinking a lot about this one song of yours I've been listening to. We should film a video for it. And I was like, I got some good friends. I got some really good friends. That same friend and I were actually talking about the whole friction before growth thing. How it's kind of this old wisdom of like, if you are feeling lots of resistance, like you're swimming upstream with your life, sometimes they can indicate that you might kind of have some good momentum, almost like I don't know, an arrow going back before it has to go forward, whatever, all those corny analogies. But I don't know if that's completely true, but it was true for him. So this is my friend that got engaged recently, and he just on his own accord was just like telling me, like recalling this story about how he worked for this really bad company, and a lot of things he was saying I was just relating to so heavily. It was like, oh, people don't show up for their meetings, or people don't care about what I do. I'll send them projects and nobody answers, and they'll spend money in ways I don't think is really a great idea, and they'll follow these trends that just are not good ideas, and they're just driven by all this money and whatever, and they don't really care about me. And he's like, I thought I was going crazy, and then it pushed me, and I just applied for my dream job. And he was like, my life has never been the same since I just decided to do that. And he was like, but I remember it just felt like the pressure or the dissatisfaction was just building and building. And he was like, and then I just got slingshotted forward in life. And he kind of was like, I don't know, maybe there's something there. Maybe that's partially true. Who knows? It's kind of like once you level up a little bit in life, though, you're probably not going to want to go back to how things were. The end of that story is that the dream job he got, which was everything he had ever wanted, was sadly a 1-year internship. So it did eventually come to an end, and he now has a job that is not quite where he wants to be, but still pretty close, which, I get, you know what I mean? And he's like, how do I get back there? It's also kind of hard once you've seen the light, you know what I mean? That it's hard to go back to. Like, to flip it on its head, you couldn't pay me enough to go back to touring the way that I did my first tour. 18-hour drives in a Buick Enclave, you know what I mean? Separated with just like 2 other people doing just crazy drives in bad conditions. Like, couldn't pay me to do that again. Now that I've seen the light, I've worked hard enough to get to a point where I would tour in more favorable conditions. But, gotta remember where you came from, and hopefully it'll push me or anybody else out there listening to keep going, even though things are getting tough. Maybe there's a reason that it's happening. Maybe it's actually a calling towards something a lot greater. So overall, I'm feeling good. Video diary, video, YouTube, internet. I don't know, whoever's listening. Trying to choose things that make me happy. Trying to trust that whatever friction is happening is actually maybe a sign that I'm doing things right. But trying not to think about it too deeply. Trying to just write songs and have fun, to be honest. I have that song out now, Angel Eyes. Hopefully people enjoy it. I think it's a really cool song, and hopefully I will have another song that will be out soon when this is released. I hope I look back on this video and many other videos and say to myself, like, I wish he knew. I wish I could reach through the screen and just tell him that things are going to work out. So, yeah, I think it's important to document these things as they happen. But thank you so much. I got a lot of really nice messages on my last video, which to me indicates that people care when you're authentic or whatever. I got some messages from people saying that they were very supportive, first of all, but they were also saying, like, they appreciate that I was kind of being vulnerable, which is very nice. I don't really have any problem doing that. I think it's kind of fun. I don't know. I'll give up some of my mysterious nature and my nonchalantness to connect with people. So I was happy to do it. I just thought it's funny that, like, I've made videos before in the past where I'm like, I don't want to do this. This sucks. Like, why am I waking up early to film this video on this thing or this review or whatever? Or I don't know, but then, like, I don't know, sometimes people don't really care. And then I was just like, I don't know, here are my thoughts. And then a lot of people were like, okay, well, I think this is kind of cool. And I'm like, okay, maybe I should just keep up with that sentiment. I'm rambling, but anyway, you know what you signed up for. Thank you so much for watching.